Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Go Watch Something Awesome podcast. I am your host, Josh Armenteros, and this is a show where we talk about movies, we play games, and we tell you what's worth watching. Today, once again, I believe for the third time, I am joined by my boy, Nate, Entertainment Overtime. What up, Nate?
What's going on, Josh?
Nothing much, man. This summer's been crazy. I keep having you back on because we got big movies to talk about, and this is the best way to just break them down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's there not to talk about this summer? There's just too much.
Yeah. Let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
All right. Without digging too deep, you walked into the theater. You probably sat for about 3.5 hours. You left the theater. What was your original take on the Odyssey?
Out of theater reaction. I'm telling you right now, I was floored. I left with my jaw on the ground. I didn't want to leave the theater. I didn't want to get up. I was just engulfed for those 3.5 hours. I knew that I was going to like this movie. I'm a sucker when it comes to Greek mythology. I'm a sucker when it comes to any of that stuff. Give me
also,
all day anything. But then when I saw the final product, it was exceeding my expectations when I walked in. So when I walked out, I was like, it was like a, for lack of a better word, it was like a drug. I was already withdrawing. I was like, I need to get back in there. Like, run it back. Just encore. Let's do it again. So I loved it. I still love it. I thought it was amazing.
Dude, Troy is my second favorite movie of all time. I love Greek mythology. I love period piece movies. Tombstone's my favorite movie. I also love Westerns. Those are old movies. And they've been my favorite. I've never watched another movie and even considered moving those back. They're not the greatest movies ever. They're not the best movies ever, but they are my favorites. I left this theater thinking to myself, this may be my new favorite movie. And I went straight home and I was like, I'm going to record it right now. I got to get it out. But it's not fair to those other movies that I didn't take a second to think about whether this is actually my favorite movie or not. So I waited like 8 hours before I recorded and posted a video saying that I have a new favorite movie of all time. And since I've said it, no regrets. This is my new favorite movie of all time.
I mean, fair. Like, I really, honestly, like, I said the same thing when I walked out of my theater. Like, again, as I've mentioned before, I'm a huge Whiplash fan. I've loved that movie, older, 2014, whatever. But like, again, like the same thing with you. Like, I had to give it time because I had to really, really sit with it. I had to be like, is this fair to say? Like, they're two different movies. They're two the two polar opposites when it comes to a film.
Right.
But I'm almost confident. Like, I need to go watch it again. I'm gonna go watch it again. I might watch it like 2, 3, 4 more times, whatever. But at this point, I'm fair to say, like, it's right there with Whiplash. Like, I'm borderline saying it's almost better, but then again, I'm like, I need to give it one more watch just to really sit with it, because I am telling you, like Greek mythology, I'll eat that up any day of the week. Yep. And this movie hit so many different chords that I didn't think it would have, that it didn't have. Like, if you go to my TikTok page, I left that theater and live in Florida, hot. I was sweating. Like, my face was bright red from how into the movie I was. And same thing with my wife. Like, my wife really doesn't, she loves all the movies we go watch, but like, even her, and we watched this movie pretty late. She stayed up for the whole thing, like, just eyes on the screen. Like, she didn't want to leave it.
The ending of movies are really important, especially to me. There's a lot of movies that I borderline had 10 out of 10s and didn't give them a 10 because I would have changed the ending slightly. So when you left the theater, were you satisfied with the way the movie ended?
I was. I think that it was as good of an ending, even almost borderline. I might get flamed for this one, but borderline perfect ending. Because given, the Odyssey is a rich book. Like, there's a lot going on in that book.
Right.
Given the book was written 3,000 years ago. So, like, to even understand the complexities of what was even happening at the end of the book. But like, for a film, after watching the epic that we saw and like ending, I was borderline again. Like, I was in tears walking out. Like I'll admit it. Like I was borderline. I was just emotional from like I was smiling and laughing to like crying from how what I just experienced. And
Yeah.
again, maybe it's just the bias of just coming out of the theater, but like my goodness, I couldn't believe what I had just witnessed. So I thought it was near perfect for that ending.
Yeah. Dude, I thought it was the coolest freaking thing ever. One or two of the smallest things that I maybe would have changed, but it's so stupid. I'm not even going to waste my time saying it. Obviously, you know my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a 10 out of 10 for you?
Brother, this is like an 11 out of 10. I'm like, dude, I don't care what anyone says. Like, honestly, I don't want to hear, oh, it's like a 4.5, 9.5. Nah, brother, you know exactly. You're just trying to do that to be different at this point. Give the movie a damn 10 out of 10. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal. And I'm sure we'll get to it. I don't know if we're miss me with all the controversies.
Yeah.
I'm off that.
To be honest, I don't have the controversies in here. I love this movie so much. I have nothing negative to say. I have, from the comments, I have realized you either love this movie because you went in there and appreciated what was given, or you hated this movie for whatever reasons you chose to hate it for. I plan on making a video about all of the haters and stuff. I'll probably post it tomorrow, but I don't want to waste my time on them in this pod. Too much. We might dabble on one or two of the things, but yeah, I didn't find anyone in the comments or in the views that were like this was a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 or something like that. It was either people were like, I walked out of the theater, the sound was so bad, Christopher Nolan's worst project, or it was like, this is the most epic movie I've ever seen. I haven't ran into a lot of people that are in the middle, but I just wanted to see if this was a 10 out of 10 for you.
Yeah, no, I'm fair and confident to say this is a 10 out of 10. Overall, I personally believe this is his best work. It's top 3 for me. I'm sure we'll get into that later on. If not, I'm confident to say that because I just think that this movie was a cinematic. I never had a cinematic experience like that. I could say this was an experience movie.
Yeah, dude.
Like of this generation, this was an experience film.
And it was 3 hours long. When you left the theater, did it feel like it was 3 hours to you?
Not at all. Like honestly, by hour 2, I was like, "Holy crap! This is 2 hours in." I thought we were just like still like an hour and a half. I was like, I couldn't believe. Like I kept looking at my phone, and I just looked. It's like, did we hit an hour? Did we hit an hour? I was like, oh my gosh, we hit 2 hours. I was like, what the heck? It's like flying by.
Yeah, dude, I was so locked in. I had a water bottle. I didn't take a sip. The movie literally ended before I opened my cup and took my. But I will say, the movie didn't feel long in a good way, but it also did feel long in a good way. And I'm going to explain myself. The movie is about a journey that took over 17 years. And you have 3 hours to tell that story. So you needed to feel how many days they were stuck in that cave with a Cyclops. You needed to feel how hungry and dehydrated they were out at the sea. You needed to see how desperate they were, to feel how long he was stuck on that island with Calypso. And I feel like the only way to tell that is with using the movie time. I don't think that in a movie like this, you can just say things. I don't think that you can just say it was 7 years or it's been 10 years. You know, he did such a good job, Nolan, at making you feel like those people walked into a cave with a Cyclops and then we're like, we're going to get these sheeps out of here. One day, devised the plan. Next day, got a couple people out. Next day, got a couple people out. And it was like a week stuck in a cave with a Cyclops. And they told that in movie time. And I think that was awesome. I think that it was 3 hours and you didn't feel it because it did fly by, but you did feel it because the movie used the time that it had to like make you feel how long this adventure was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. I completely, I agree with you completely. Like it allowed you to sit with the scene. It
Yeah.
allowed you to be engulfed in the atmosphere. Like it let you, as the audience member, feel like you were in that cave with the Cyclops, sitting with the moment of, am I or am I not going to make it out of here?
Was there anything coming out of the movie, no matter how small, that you wish maybe was a little different? Maybe they gave a little more time to something or explained something a little better. Maybe just took something out completely.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I sat with it, like I said, and the one thing that I did talk about it with my wife and then other people, I was like, the moment with Charybdis, the whirlpool, and the monster in the cave,
Yeah.
um, that moment, I felt like they kind of just went by it. Now, given
Rushed.
there's a little bit more in the book, and that was the part that I was most excited about going into the
Yeah.
Odyssey. When watching the movie, I was like, this is the most, like, when I heard that they were doing it, I was like, oh, I'm excited for this. I'm excited
Mm-hmm.
for Charybdis. I'm excited for seeing the whirlpool and then that sea monster come out and attack them, because it's like a really integral part of the book.
Yeah.
And then they kind of just glazed over it. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, we didn't even like sit with it a little bit. Now, given I understand maybe it wasn't the most important part, so they decided to move along with it.
Yeah.
So they decided to say, all right, we'll just close that chapter. But at the end, I would have wished that we got a little bit more on Charybdis and that monster.
Yeah. That's how I felt with the knights on the island, the giant knights. They
Yes.
showed up on an island. A little kid started screaming. Big ass knights came out, started swinging swords. They jumped in their boat. Never talked about it again.
Yeah.
Why were they on that island? What were they protecting? What was the kid about? Like, you got no explanation to that. Obviously, you go back, you read, you do research or whatever you can find out. But in real time, I thought it would play a part, and it just was like, this is a thing that happened to us on our adventure, kind of thing. Yeah, I also thought Odysseus' son, Telemachus, as as amazing as Tom Holland was, and we'll get into it, he was a bit of a wimp. Dude, at the beginning of Troy's little cousin is fighting the same way that they do with Tom Holland's character in the beginning. And he, gets one over on the guy, but he could fight. Telemachus looked like he had some moves. He, got one over, puts the sword on his throat. And I was like, okay, he's got a little bit. He didn't have shit. He was getting beat up the whole movie. Oh my God. The reason is, I feel like he should have had a moment where, maybe when he was fighting the dude that had the jingle bells everywhere he went, he made a bunch of noise, where he like just was getting beat up because he didn't have a weapon. When he finally did get a weapon and was like, you know what, I'm going to take charge here, beats his ass, holds him down with a knife, whatever it is, because he didn't allow his son to fight with him at the very end. Odysseus, in that battle scene, his son was about to come in and he said, no, stop, like, I got this, I'm holding down 40 people. I guess he wanted to do it by himself. Everyone bows down, and then he just gives the reign to his son, who did not earn it. Who is he to be respected? He couldn't even defend himself. I felt like if he had a moment or two where, like, maybe he made a couple decisions within the movie that really made you feel like he was ready for this role, I feel like when that decision was made, you would be like, okay, that was smart.
Yeah, no, I get you completely. Telemachus is supposed to be kind of, from the readings, he's supposed to be kind of that character of a more, like you said, wimpy kind of person from the beginning. Then over time, as the journey keeps going, he kind of learns on his own.
Right.
And he's his own man. He's his own. He doesn't have to be his father's son. He could be his own man. He could be his own man. And
Right.
so, like, by the end of it, you're trying to feel like, you're right. Like, you want to feel like it's earned because of his journey, like his arc that he's going through. So I do think that Telemachus's character was something that could have been maybe retcon just a little bit to kind of give him a little bit more substance by the end of the movie. That way, when he does take ownership of Ithaca, you kind of feel like, oh, it's a poetic ending.
Right.
Go off into the sunset, and he becomes this, own leader of Ithaca, that he's going to be leading this, his people to a whole new generation. So
yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but like, Odysseus he's really well known for being smart and for being honorable. everyone respects him, and his son did not need to take on 10 soldiers at the same time to prove that. But a decision here or there, maybe do something. I feel like besides the fact that Tom Holland and the character were amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything, like, I'm not saying that Tom's character was not good at all. I just feel like he was given the throne. And I
Yeah.
don't think that there was a decision, an action, a moment in the movie where you were like, he earned this.
Yeah. Agreed. No, I think
That's,
you're 100%. Like, I could see that sentiment.
yeah. So the character of Odysseus. First, let me ask about Matt Damon. Was this Matt Damon just playing Matt Damon, or do you think he lost himself in this character?
Dude, I'm telling you this much. That siren scene when he's on the mast of the boat
Bro.
and he's just there weeping and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that scene alone, that could be just a short film right there. Boom. That's an Oscar worthy performance. That's not
Dude.
Matt Damon. To me at least. Like, that doesn't feel like, shout out Supergirl, but it doesn't feel like Jason Momoa as Lobo. This feels like uh, this this is definitely Matt Damon engulfing himself in the character of Odysseus.
Was the character everything that you wanted it to be?
This is everything I could have wanted. Seeing a portrayal of Odysseus, like, this is what I envisioned. Would I have liked it if it was like an actual Greek actor doing the role of him? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it doesn't take away from the moment. Like, Matt Damon was Odysseus. That was who I read about in the book. When I read the journey of the Odyssey and I look at Odysseus, that's gonna be him now. It's gonna be hard to top.
I think it's tough. I get the Greek thing, and I get people that wanted actors from the region and stuff. Christopher Nolan speaks about the fact that back then they weren't even speaking English. But Christopher Nolan also got A-list actors. He got A-list composers. He got A-list camera workers. He wanted experienced professionals. A1 steak sauce. He wanted the best of the best because he was making the best of the best. And I mean, no offense to any Greek actors. I'm sure they're amazing. But I mean, you got Matt Damon, Tom Holland, and Hathaway. If these are options for you, take them. Make the best movie you've ever made in your life, and don't look back. Is my opinion.
100%. This was clearly a project that not Matt Damon, that Christopher Nolan took on with so much care for the product, the end product that he was going to do. To be a movie entirely shot on IMAX cameras.
Yep.
To the sound design of that movie, to, like you said, the stars that he was able to get in this movie, to the performances. Again, shout out to the people who, like, in those roles, like, for like what it's worth, Robert Pattinson. My gosh, I don't know how that dude has time in his schedule, and I don't know how that dude's able to snap in and out of characters like the way he does.
Yeah.
But he was just a conniving POS in that movie, and I never wanted to see someone hurt as much as I did him. And I could and that's just good. That's just good storytelling because sure, Robert Pattinson, nice dude, but my goodness, that moment, like, just the writing team, like you said, the sound design, the production, Ludwig Göransson's score. My gosh, I could go on and on about it.
Yep. But Odysseus, the biggest thing that I loved about his character, or at least his presence in the movie, was that the entire movie did a really great job of never having him be the reason that you thought he was awesome until the very end. The movie had people from all over telling stories, different stories. They were gushing about him, about how much respect they had for him, and how real of a person he was. It was never like him talking about himself. He was never Odysseus is the best, or had to do these big fight scenes to show you how awesome he was, like in Achilles. No shot to Achilles. It's my second favorite movie. I love it so much. But it was just like scene for scene, he was, somewhat quiet, stoic. He made a decision and everyone just went with it because they knew that it was probably the right decision. And then throughout the movie, His son's meeting different people that are telling him about him. His wife is talking about him 17 years later. And she's still like, there is never going to be another man like Odysseus.
Dude, like you're just saying poem. Like you're making me want to go back to the movie right now and just go, gosh. You're so right. Like the journey of the Odyssey and the story that it tells is again about the man that it was Odysseus. Like you said, Achilles was the strength. He was the
Badass.
brawn. Like you said,
Right.
he was the badass. While Odysseus was the tactical, more intelligent, more like you said, stoic. But at the end of the day, when it came down to the nitty gritty, the one who, again, in the story here, what we're saying, the one who came out and was actually able to make it home
Yeah.
was Odysseus. He made it back to his island. And like you said, like the journey that he went on, and then Telemachus learning about his father, who his father was, the character that was his father from the Trojan War up until the moment that he makes it back to Ithaca. He was just this grand hero. Like there was, like he was a legend.
The fact that he strung his bow to allow his prey the opportunity to run or know that he is coming is crazy.
Like you said, the strum of the bow, I thought that was the sickest part of not only sound design, but score integration as well. I was like, whatever Christopher Nolan was on when he decided to do that and Ludwig was on, I was like, I want some of that. Because the sauce that was there for him to strum the bow at the beginning of that movie and then say, why do you do that? Yo, to allow the prey to know I'm to give him a chance. I'm like, dog, what are like, oh my God, what are we doing, dude?
He does it at the beginning. He does it again a little after. And then I believe they're on the mountain. They're desperate. He tells his people he's going to go hunting. He sees a deer. They're desperate. And he still does it. And then the callback of all callbacks at the very end of the movie, when he strings the bow in front of all those people and hits the yo, and Robert Pattinson goes,
He's behind him. He's behind. Yo, that scene is so funny. Yo,
bro,
seeing
chills. I have chills right now,
dude. Like honestly, so like just insanity.
I cried so many times in that movie. It was ridiculous. So he wasn't a perfect character, obviously. Okay, he made some choices that ended up being wrong in the short come.
Yeah.
And he was kind of running away from some of the decisions that he made in his life. So let me go over some of the decisions real quick. And this is all a part of his destiny in a sense. So in a way, he kind of had no choice. Like all of this stuff was going to happen regardless. First of all, he had to make the decision to do the Trojan horse in the first place, which is a shot to the gods. He chooses to go east after the war instead of going west with Agamemnon because he doesn't want to follow him anymore. They end up on the Cyclops Island. They go into the cave. A bunch of people die. He ends up deciding to stay so that they can do the strategy. A bunch more people die. When they go to leave, he's a little butthurt because the Cyclops killed some of his people, shoots him with an arrow. More people die. He gets on the ship, takes him to another island, decides to unload everybody, and they get attacked by giant knights. And takes them to the island with Cersei. Decides not to tell them so that they lose 6 people. There's a lot of decisions that he made that, in a sense, not necessarily good decisions. It doesn't make him a bad person. It just makes him human. And everyone saw him as like, this is the guy that we follow no matter what. And I think that was weighing on him a lot. So like when you get to the end, does it come full circle? Do you feel like good after all of the decisions that he made and everything that was bothering, that weighed on him? Like, was the story complete?
Nolan is really good at telling movies about time, and movies never follow this pattern, right? He's telling the story with Calypso, and then we're watching everything up until he gets to Calypso, and then everything kind of goes after, right? And
Yeah.
so everything that I'm seeing play out right there is the decisions that were made, like you said, who's flawed, human, arrogant,
Mm-hmm.
because he can't allow himself to be bested.
Right.
Again, given, like you said, like he was defying the God's orders. They were yelling at him, pray, seek penitence, like help us out here. Like there's a whole storm going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just pray, dude. Like help us. And then for ultimately the character to be where he gets to by once he hits Ithaca again and realizing everything that was weighing him down up until that moment, seeing how it was by the grace of the gods at that moment that was able to get him home. Because again, that constant reminder with Athena being there to be that living reminder of not only the God, what Penelope gave him, the blessing that she gave him, but on top of that as well serving as a reminder of his guilt, because you come to find out that ended up being a little girl that was off
Right.
in Troy because of his choices and what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the end of it, that when we see it all, I think that it was a bittersweet ending, but by the end of it, you're seeing the complete saga of Odysseus be told.
Let's talk about Penelope. Anne Hathaway. Did she kill it or not?
I love Anne Hathaway in anything she does, so it's hard for me to even say that she's bad. And I thought she was great in this. I didn't think she was a standout. Now, given I didn't think she was this amazing powers like she is in a lot, but I thought she was really good. I think that her role served the purpose well of the film. I thought she was very emotional. I thought she was raw with her performance. It felt very much like she was engulfed again in the character. There was probably like 2 or 3 more characters that I was more impacted by their performance before I'd say, Penelope.
Man, she was delivering some speeches. Like you said, raw emotion. And I wanted more of her.
Yeah.
I wanted to see her make some decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see her do some stuff. And I just feel like, they had a long story to tell and stuff. Obviously, you got to cut stuff out. But I feel like a little bit of more of her would have made like the weight of the movie feel a little weightier.
Yeah. No, the gravitas of the moment would have been a lot better. I completely agree. Like if we had gotten some more time with her, like you said, and given she made some choices and had an emotional stake in certain things that were happening in the story, I think that we would have been talking about, again, like a best supporting actress sort of performance with her.
We touched on it a little bit earlier. What did you think of Tom Holland's portrayal of Telemachus?
Is it fair to say that I personally believe that this is his best performance? I think that this is a Oscar-worthy performance that he definitely deserves some credit for.
Absolutely.
I think that he was emotional. Again, this is Tom Holland. This is Spider-Man we're talking about. You're here in Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And like, for example, I forgot Uncharted, the video game movie. Like when I have watched that movie and I saw that Tom Holland was playing Nathan Drake, I was like, that's Spider-Man. That's Tom Holland.
Spider-Man.
It's not Nathan Drake. I'm not getting any sort of character that's similar to the game I play. In this, his character felt very much like what I would have seen in the book. It would have seen in a portrayal, in a play, in a stage play, because that's what the Odyssey is ultimately. And so I think, to me, this is his best performance. I think that this is worthy of getting some, hopefully, Oscar noms, but we'll have to wait and see.
This was incredible.
Yeah.
Again, I wish Telemachus was a little tougher, but that's got nothing to do with the way that Tom did it. Mm-hmm. Do you think that when father and son met, do you think that moment was just chef's kiss? You think it paid off?
I was in tears.
Bruh.
I was in tears because you don't do what they did. Like what they did in that scene was so diabolical, and they knew what they were doing. The moment when you get to they're about to see each other. He doesn't know it's his dad yet. And you're sitting there and he's walking up, he sees Argus.
The dog.
And I don't want to do it.
Do it. Do it for the pod.
Dude, I I full on broke down. I was like, I
Bro.
can't do this. And then he looks at him and gives him that look, and he says, "You're Odysseus."
Yep.
I lost it.
Yep.
I was
Bro.
in a pool of emotions.
Let's go to
I
the theater
was,
right now.
I was, I looked at my wife, and she was crying.
Yes.
I was crying. I was like, I can't do this.
Right.
This is damn near perfection. Like, I just want to do it right now. I need to go see just that moment again
Yeah.
because it was just so beautiful. It was so emotional. And it, again, credit to Matt Damon and Tom Holland in that moment.
Yeah.
They felt like it was like a father and son reuniting, and it just felt real. And I can't go. I could go.
I don't
On and
have the exact words, and I don't think that I'll do it any justice, but Odysseus says something to the effect of Tom because he was just saying that he was a beggar. And he said something like, if I was Odysseus, so if Odysseus was here, he would be like the proudest father. Oh my God. That
on.
just every word, I was just like, my lip was literally quivering. I was hoping that my wife didn't look over because she's not a crier like I am. And she turned over, and instead of making me feel stupid, she started going like this, like over my eyes. Yo, I cried a bunch of times in the movie because I get really excited. Like I told you 100 times, I'm a really emotional person. So I happy cry. If I get really excited and like awesome shit's happening, I start tearing up. If a dad sees his son hit a home run and his dad jumps up and cheers for him, I'm crying. Like whatever it is.
Yeah,
That one had me bawling. Dude, he touched the dog. The dog died. I said, "Oh no, Argus died." And then he turns and his son is there and he's like, "I would be so proud of him." Bro, I was like, "Oh my God, you guys need to stop right now." Ugh.
there's just certain movies that have that moment, and this movie had like multiple of them, and that's what
Dude,
just
the
sets it
last
apart.
hour of this movie, I'll put up with almost any other hour in any other movie on the planet. That
Dude,
last hour, just, I mean, for 3 hours, I was on the edge of my seat. I'm locked in. But for that last hour, dude, I was on the edge of the dude's seat in front of me. Like I was so locked in. I was sitting on that dude's shoulders, like, and the whole time I had chills and I was crying and I'm like excited. My arms are going up and down. Like I kept tapping my wife, like, pay attention. Oh my God.
dude,
Like I was
no,
just, bro.
no, like
Yeah.
I, I loved it. I just can't. I can go on and on.
Yeah. I'm gonna end the Odyssey talk with some rapid fire questions.
Go ahead.
So what was your favorite scene in the movie?
I'm gonna say Cersei. The Cersei scene
Okay. Yeah,
was
absolutely.
fantastic.
I get that. The string pull at the end of the movie is my favorite. Scene is what, like 20 something minutes? I guess that might be cheating to say that whole thing, but just that second was my favorite second in maybe cinema history. Who is the best character, not actor or portrayal, but the best character?
Is it fair to like? Should I say beyond Odysseus, or
No,
should I?
you can say,
Okay, I'll say Odysseus, but honorable mention. I gotta say it is Robert Pattinson. I forget his name right now,
yeah,
but he was great. He was
yes,
phenomenal.
he was. I loved hating him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mine is Odysseus, hands down. The man
Yeah,
is just aura personified.
absolutely.
What was the most intense scene?
Oh, honestly, the scene with the suitors, like that whole ending sequence with the
Mm-hmm.
suitors, had me really like. I was gripping some chair, like it was the seats were definitely getting scratched a little bit because I was just on the edge there because I didn't know if he was gonna make it or not. Like I thought they were gonna change the book up. I thought he was gonna die.
Bruh. So the movie's a 10 out of 10. If he died, I told my wife, 7 out of 10. You take that from me. That ruined the whole movie to me.
No, yeah, I would
But
have
they did.
definitely. They didn't do that,
Yeah.
which is I'm fine with it.
So I'm gonna go with the Cersei scene. Uh because dude, that was crazy. And it wasn't until after I saw the movie that I found out that there was no CGI used in that scene. It is all practical effects.
Say what? What? I
You're
didn't know
finding this out? Oh my God. Listen, listen. I found this out. So they were interviewing, they were doing the press tour, and multiple times somebody brought that up when they watched the movie. And the actors said, we were on set watching it happen. It was animatronics with some form of clay or something of the actors' faces. And Cersei, the lady that played Cersei, was told to recreate it in the shape of a pig. So she did that. It was all practical effects, no CGI. They recorded it from a bunch of different angles and they cut it in a way to make it seem grotesque and as cool and real as possible. No CGI in that scene.
I'm astounded. Oh,
Dude,
dude,
isn't that fucking epic? Doesn't that make the movie just so much better to know
that's
that?
insanity. Because I know, I didn't know. I knew, like, I just found out, like, on yesterday that the Cyclops was practical,
Yeah.
and then now you're telling me this. I'm like, what,
Dude.
dude? I don't know how they did that.
No. What makes it crazy for me is I don't know how anyone hates this movie.
Yeah,
We already touched on it, but like the more you find out about it, we're finding this out after we saw the movie. And we are now liking the movie more and we already love the movie. I'm
I
so happy that I was able to tell you that for the first time. That excites me so much.
brother, what? I cannot believe what I just heard.
What was your favorite performance? Actual actor.
All right, so if I was to give then I'll since I said Odysseus or for favorite character, I'm gonna say Robert Pattinson. I'm gonna
Okay.
say it for his because he was definitely a like his performance was any scene he was on, I think he was a scene stealer.
So I'm gonna say mine's cheating a little bit. If Anne Hathaway was given more time, I really enjoyed what she did. I really enjoyed the emotion, the presence, and the power that a woman in that time did not have had.
Mm-hmm.
So if she was given more screen time and was given a little more power in her decisions, I would have gone with Anne Hathaway just because every time she spoke, I just felt like everyone's mouth was just floored.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with John Leguizamo.
He was I was between him and
Dude,
yeah.
everyone's telling him this on the press tour. This is probably the best he's ever been.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's amazing, and I love him in everything that he does. He's hilarious. He's a deep actor. He can do anything on the planet. But dude, as the blind wise old man, loved him, loved him so much.
This was his magnum opus. I thought it was phenomenal. He was fantastic.
Would you recast anybody?
I don't want to. Damn, am I fair to? Do I want to cause some controversy on your pod? I'm gonna say two is Agamemnon.
Oh my God, that's mine.
Yeah, I would have said.
No way.
I would have said Benny Safdie, even though I thought he was. Yeah. He was basically ore farming throughout the whole entire thing. You barely saw his face, but when you got to hear his voice, definitely doesn't sound great.
That's I would let you finish. Go.
I'm sticking with my original. Then
yeah,
Benny Safdie.
Ben Safdie. So yes, the suit, all of that was awesome. But anyone could have done that.
Yeah.
You put anybody in a badass suit and just have them stand in a dark room and they could look awesome. When he spoke, took me out of it. He literally comes out, everyone, the parts, they see him and they bowed to him. And, Christopher Nolan, Batman, I was expecting, I'm Batman. I was expecting something, some just deep, like bass-filled, like presence, Paul Bunyan-esque voice, and like, hello, Odysseus. What a letdown.
Is it fair to say that honestly you're right that anyone could have done that? But you know who they should have just flipped it. They should have gave Benny Safdie's role to John Bernthal and have John Bernthal play Agamemnon.
Yo, talk about a recast. Could have absolutely done that. Most emotional scene in the movie.
Most emotional. I mean, I already said it. I'm going to tell you that much. Was that freaking Argus scene,
Yeah,
and him meeting his dad for the first time. That thing
yeah,
had me weeping.
yeah. I mean, mine is obviously that too. But if I had a second, when he was talking to Penelope on the steps, and the old lady saw the scar on his leg,
Oh my god.
I jumped up like with excitement and just started crying. Just started crying. Like she noticed,
Yeah.
and he like stopped her and was like, "Not yet."
Yeah.
And she just gave him a nod, like, "I know." And
Yeah.
they're talking, and he's just. It was just a beautiful moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd definitely be a close second for me. Well, probably a distant second.
Yeah.
The dog and Tom Holland meeting his dad was, clearly number one.
Yeah.
What was the most shocking moment in the movie for you? Can I give you mine first?
Yeah. Give me yours.
Okay. I don't know if they did a really good job, and maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know if they did a good job of explaining this. I remember the two brothers that walked up to the table when they were doing the draft for the war.
Mm-hmm.
One of the brothers kept the stick so that the other one can go, and then they gave it to Odysseus. I did not know that Robert Pattinson's character was the older brother. I didn't put two and two together. I don't know, again, if that was explained and I just didn't catch it. That's on me.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment that Odysseus put the stick on the plate in front of Robert Pattinson, I almost punched my wife in the mouth. I did I like internally did a backflip when he put that little wooden piece on it all just like you ever seen That's So Raven when she like
Yes.
looks to the side and her eyes get like it just
Yeah.
like it all caught me at once and I was like, oh my god, that's the big brother and his little brother went to war and he's being a piece of shit and he's an asshole and he's like the villain of the story. It all hit me like at once.
Yeah.
So you tell me, because to me that was the most shocking. Did you already know that was the big brother?
So I did. I did.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
So it's just something that I missed.
but it's again, to each their own. Like if that's a blink and you'll miss it kind of moment, like because they kind of just moved past it. So that I kind of knew I was gonna say that moment was mine for the shock value of the way that the scene was handled. But then as you were talking, I then remembered the scene where he's giving that monologue to Penelope through the screen.
Yeah.
And then he sees Athena. He looks to his side, sees Athena, and as he's telling the story, it cuts to the moment where you see Zendaya's character was that girl that they lop her head off, and then
Yes.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and then that's where I look at my wife. I go, wow, what a different way to handle that story. What a different
I
way.
had an inkling because the child looked like Zendaya. So I thought, I was like, is that Zendaya? And then she was playing like Athena, and I was like, oh, maybe they just got two people that look similar.
Yeah.
So when that moment happened, it was a full circle for me, but not like that wooden piece. That wooden piece hit me like a ton of bricks. What was the most underrated performance for you?
Himesh Patel was definitely he was so loyal to Matt Damon's Odysseus, and you felt it from but then you see the character arc start to give up on him because he's like, I'm sick and tired of this already. But you're seeing that's not him being like
He's torn.
He was just torn for the fact of how, dude, you're leading me on this path. Like I have to follow you. I trust you. You're the man who won us the Trojan War.
Yeah.
You're doing all this stuff. If you had just done something differently. So he was a big standout for me. I loved his character.
Yeah. No, he was amazing. Mine's a much smaller part. John Bernthal.
I was thinking too.
John Bernthal is John Bernthal.
Of course.
And I don't care. He told a story about Odysseus to Telemachus that gave me chills. He had so much respect for Odysseus, and the way that he was telling the story just made you feel like you really wanted to like him. But at the same time, you knew that he was a bad guy. And it was really awesome to watch and feel being torn like, dude, this guy's so cool. He's got so much respect for the guy that we love. So is he a good guy? No.
Yeah.
he's, not, he's not a good guy. But he believes in honor and respect, and he's a soldier. So you got to take all of that with it.
Mm-hmm.
And John Bernthal just personified that as a character. And for the small amount of time that he was on the screen, loved him.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
I also I saw a tidbit when they were in the Trojan Horse. They were in Greenland or Iceland. I think it's Greenland. Filming that, and they were in the horse filming with the humongous cameras.
Yeah.
The humongous IMAX cameras, and then they built a box for it on the outside. So they had a bunch of guys stacked up in the horse recording those scenes. And John Bernthal was at the bottom, and the water was going up to like neck level. It was freezing cold water. And they were in there for long amounts of time. And Matt Damon was being interviewed, and he was like, I'm at the top, and he's just sitting in the water. And they're trying to do the shoots, and his body's shaking, and he's just like this. And they're like, should we take him out? Do we need to like warm him up before we throw him back in so that we can do it? And Matt Damon was like, John just said, just shoot it. Just shoot it.
Dude, do it. Yeah, like he's intense. I love him. Like there's a reason why he's the Punisher. So
yeah. All right, that's going to end our Odyssey talk.
Mm-hmm.
Something else happened this morning.
I didn't know we were doing this. Don't do this with me.
Something else happened this morning.
Don't.
I just want to touch on it. A little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the Doomsday trailer.
Oh, baby. Let's go.
We got the Doomsday trailer. Gut reaction to the trailer.
I loved it.
Somewhere in the middle?
I loved it. I don't care.
Loved it.
I loved it.
We talked about this. We talked about this multiple times. Mm-hmm. This is what we wanted. Don't give us too much.
And it didn't.
It didn't.
It didn't give me anything that I was like, don't do it. If this is our only trailer, I'm fine with it. Don't show me anything else.
It pretty much gave us everything that we knew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got a little clip of Chris Evans, so we knew he was going to be in it. You know, the way that they revealed it was really cool. But everything else, we pretty much knew.
Yep. And when I was watching the trailer, I had noticed that a lot of it was basically, if it was not a post-credit scene, like what we got with Thunderbolts, it was the little 1 minute trailers that we got with the Avatar. Mm-hmm. When the trailer opens up, I'm like, oh, it's just a teaser. I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah. This is something I've already seen before, and it keeps going. And then I start crying because I'm like, again, I'm emotional. I'm like, yep. Oh my gosh, the thing I've been covering for 8 months, it's happening right before my eyes. Doesn't give us much, but while it doesn't give you a lot, it does do a very effective job at telling you this is not your average run. This is not Avengers Infinity War. This is not Avengers Endgame. This feels like an event, and this feels like something more dark than what we've ever seen.
Yeah, I thought of you immediately.
It was unexpected. I did a video last week covering tickets are going to go live on Monday, today, July 20th. And we're going to most likely get something regards of Avengers Doomsday come Saturday. And I'm traveling to a wedding. I told my wife, I'm like, listen, I literally told her, I was like, I'm going to be whatever happens. If this trailer drops, I'm at that wedding. I'm going to a car. Yeah, I'm going to record a reaction.
I can't wait to see you in a suit in your car, just sweating. Like, Doomsday.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was like, I'm here.
Was there anything in the trailer that surprised you?
I loved seeing so much. I loved seeing a lot of Namor in there. So I like that. But honestly, the biggest surprise was the accent. Was RDJ's Dr.
Yes.
Doom. When I heard that deep, I was like, who is this? And then of course you get the shot with him coming out from the shoulder. You see the mask. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's his voice.
Yeah.
And then immediately I listened to it again and again. And I keep listening to it. I did a video on it. I'm like, yeah, all those people who said this isn't going to be a good actor to play him, you might be eating your words now, because it doesn't. He does a very good job not sounding like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. I told you when you were on live, when I was listening to the trailer, I thought it was Nightcrawler. I heard Nightcrawler and I was like, no way. They got him narrating the trailer? That's going to be so great. We're going to get Nightcrawler. And I didn't know that it was Robert Downey Jr. until after I finished watching the trailer and recorded the whole video. So that was really cool to find out that I didn't know that it was him.
It's perfect. Like, it's literally that. And it's so good for him. I think he's going to make everyone eat their words when it comes to that.
Do you have any concerns? Too many balls juggling? Anything that you may have seen?
I mean, of course, everything goes down to CGI. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. I hope that there's not a lot of. I mean, it's going to be a lot of green screen, and a lot of it was still going to be such a difference of what you see with the Odyssey to what you see here. But I think that one thing is, I hope it's polished. I just hope that it's refined. Again, I trust the Russo brothers, because I was just talking earlier today on my live that I did a few hours ago. I was talking about how the Russo brothers know how to write these characters. Like,
yes,
for what it's worth, even though their individual films may not be the greatest thing in the world, but arguably two of the top 10 Marvel movies of all time, at least a lot of people's opinions, are Winter Soldier and Civil War, Infinity War and Endgame. More of those. All of those 4 are Russo brothers projects. So for people to be like, oh, they don't know what they're doing, yeah, they wrote 4 of your favorite movies. So I can trust them on that. The writing sounds good from Thor's part. I'm just, again, concerned with polishing and just making sure that the visuals look fine. I think that they're going to handle Doom fine. I know that everyone's kind of like, oh, we don't have enough build up to Doom because it's different than Thanos. But if you really look back to when we got Thanos back in the original, like with the Infinity Saga, again, we didn't really get a lot of Thanos. Like, we only got one movie with him, and that was Infinity War. That was it. People really think that we got all these things. We didn't. It was just one thing, and that was it. Doom is getting 2 movies to basically show everyone he is a much stronger and more powerful character than Thanos ever was.
And Thor sold that in the trailer.
Well, 1,000,000%.
He told them, we had a team that was much stronger, much more powerful than you guys. And I'm terrified of this guy.
Yeah. No, 1,000,000%. And then that scene of him on, I'm guessing, is either the grounds of the X Mansion, or my other theory is that that's Latveria, that's his country, and he just swings that axe at him, and he just, like this, 2 fingers, and says, what? If you look back at Infinity War, Thanos couldn't even stop the axe. He gets hit with it when he gets hit in the chest. This is Dr. Doom just going like this with 2 fingers.
That was the perfect moment to show, like, this is on another level. Or said it, but like, here it is. Just based off of the trailer, who do you think's the MVP?
I know it's going to be hard to say. I mean, Thor, of course, but I think that Thor may being the MVP. I think he's going to catch the can there. He might be out. It's going to be hard to say goodbye to him, but I think that he might be on his way out. But I think MVP wise, and I think the trailer maybe didn't show it as much. But colored me not surprised if Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards is going to be the MVP. He's going to be one of the leaders, and again, it makes sense for him. I have a feeling that he's going to know who Doom is, and he's going to know how to handle him. And I trust him being the lead, and I think that he's going to most likely steal the show. For everyone says they have the problem with Fantastic Four First Steps, and Pedro didn't feel like Reed, and we didn't get enough of him. I think this is going to be his movie.
Was there a character missing that you really wanted to see?
I would have wished I'd seen maybe Nightcrawler. Like, I want my boy. Like, that's my dog. I was happy to see Gambit in there. Like, that's my dude as well. But I would have loved to see some Nightcrawler, and I hope us not seeing him doesn't mean the worst for him, because I love the dude so much. But most likely it's going to happen. But also the Sentry. I would have. I mean, not Cedric, but Bob, whatever whatever you want to know him as.
Yeah.
Would have loved to see his character at least somewhat involved because he's going to be in the movie because they had the chair and the set cast for him. But I would love to see Bob a little bit more, and of course Nightcrawler.
Yep. Last thing, and I'll let you go to bed.
Oh, don't worry.
You got any bold predictions?
I'm convinced that Deadpool and Wolverine will be making their appearance in this movie. I think Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be, and I think Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is in this as well.
That'd be so exciting.
You can go back and look at Robert Downey Jr.'s posts. Go find his Easter egg when he posted on Easter. And his in Easter egg basket, he has all these eggs in there with all the logos of the Avengers. And then on the one very hidden off to the corner is Spider-Man. And everyone's like, oh, it's the brand new day. And then if you look at it, because again, I'm a sleuth and I love this stuff. I'm looking at the logo. I'm like, that's not the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I'm looking closer and closer. I'm like, that's Tobey Maguire's logo. That's not Tom's suit. And I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll shave my head bald if Tobey Maguire does not appear in this movie. I think Tobey Maguire and Deadpool, Wolverine, they're in this movie. But I do think there's going to be a lot of deaths. I think there's going to be a lot of people that we're going to see their story ends. That being like Winter Soldier, Ant-Man, Thor.
Damn, all the OGs?
A lot of the
killing everybody off?
I think a lot of them are on their way out.
Wolverine and Spider-Man, that's a connection that we've never gotten on the big screen. And that's something I've been wanting for a long time. I also want to see Wolverine fight the Hulk.
Listen, same here. I think Marvel knows what fans want. And given I know people are saying, oh, this is just going to be fan service, the movie. I don't think it's going to be that. I think there's going to be a little bit more in store for that. But you kind of have to have these characters have a send-off because everything after Marvel is going to be like a hard reset because now Marvel has every toy that they want. Besides Spider-Man, they have every other character that they can have in their, sandbox. So if they can just end off everything, throw away, close all the chapters for the Fox, Sony, Toby, Andrew, all those guys, all the original Fox X-Men, potentially maybe even the original Fantastic Four movies that we got. If they can just close that chapter and start completely fresh, that's what they're going to do.
I'm super excited. I got the trailer. We got to talk about the Odyssey. We got Spider-Man coming up in 2 weeks.
Hell yeah, bro.
Well, Nate, that's it for us once again, man. 3rd podcast down. I love having you on. I appreciate you always being willing to jump on the pod and discuss stuff like this. This, again, is my man Nate, Entertainment Overtime, on TikTok, on YouTube. He said that he wants to get on YouTube a little bit more, so hopefully he's been doing that, so you guys can subscribe to his channel. Nate, anything else?
No, listen, go watch the Odyssey. Don't wait till stream.
Yes.
Go watch the Odyssey.
Yes, go watch the Odyssey. And ladies and gentlemen, go watch something awesome.